Okay, in this video tutorial, I will discuss about risk assessment. If students have not watched the previous video from the test out regarding risk management, I would suggest you go over this video first, which is security risk management, and then you can see this video. Okay, so what is risk assessment? Risk assessment is part of risk management because, as mentioned previously, risk management consists of asset identification, threat identification, vulnerability evaluation, risk assessment, and how you want to respond with the risk, how you mitigate the risk. Okay, and this video I will discuss a little bit more detail about risk assessment, since students will be asked to create a risk assessment quantitatively and qualitatively for your organization. In case you are not currently work, you may use risk assessment for your computers or technology in your house. Okay, I will provide more info through the Blackboard. So risk assessment is the practice of determining the threat identified that are relevant and pressing to the organization, then attaching a potential costs that are associated with, then attaching potential costs that can be expected if the identified threat occurs. Okay. Generally speaking, there are two different types of risk assessment. The first one is called quantitative analysis. It assigns a real numbers to the costs of damages and countermeasure. It also assigns a concrete probability percentages the risk of occurrence. Okay. The second type of risk assessment is qualitative analysis. Qualitative analysis use scenarios to identify risks and responses. Qualitative risk analysis is more speculative. Okay, so let's talk about the quantitative analysis. Before we go into an example, because I have an example spreadsheet here, I will send this document through Blackboard so you can have this information. Some of the terms that you will need to know before we go into an example is called single loss expectancy, or SLE. What is SLE? SLE is the amount of loss that is expected for any single successful threat attack on any given asset. Okay, this is a monetary value that describes how much the incident will cost them in terms of loss of asset value, or maybe the cost of fixing the problem. Okay, let me give you an example here. Let's say that an organization is attacked by the worm or malware. Okay, well, this will cost the downtime of the organizational operation. For example, let's say that you work in the call center, right? When you work for a call center, when the internet down or voice over IP system down, the employee may not be able to work, and also somebody need to fix that, to fix the problem. Okay, remember, if it is a call center, they may have about 300 or 500 voice over IP phones, or maybe they may have about 300 to 500 computers. It's not just one or two computers. Okay, so let's say that when an organization attacks by the viruses or worm, it costs like 3 to 5 hours downtime. Okay, that would cost a company or organization about $10,000. So each time that attacking occurs, it will cost the company $10,000. because we still need to pay the staff when the system down. Also, we may need to hire a consultant to help to resolve the problem sooner. Okay, so this is called SLE. So SLE is the amount of loss expected for any single successful threat attack on any given asset or organization. The second thing that you may need to know is the annualized rate of occurrence, or ARO, or ARO. ARO is how often in a single year that successful threat attack occur. This annualized rate of occurrence is frequently needed for insurance company, for law enforcement agency, for compliance purposes, or for computer incident monitoring, okay, purposes. For example, an ARO of 2, the arrow of 2 indicate that the incident is expected to occur twice a year, while ARO 0.25 means that the incident is expected to occur every 4 years. So in this example, let's say that the malware attack or the worm attack, okay, that is occur every 4 years. Okay, so every 4 years. That means the ARO value is 0.25, right? We need to annualize that. So that's why we talk about this. That's why the definition of ARO is the annualized rate of occurrence. Okay, so in this case, it happened every 4 years. To analyze that is 0.25. The next term that we need to know is called annualized loss expectancy. That is the annual loss resulting from the incident. For example, if you expect a successful attack every 4 years, then the LE is the incident would be 1/4 of the SLE, right? The formula for that is, the formula for the quantitative value of risk can be determined by the following calculation. The SLE, which is the single loss expectancy, times the ARO, which is the annualized rate of occurrence, equal to the annual loss of expectancy. So, for example, in this scenario, the annualized loss expectancy is 10,000 multiplied by 0.25, which is what? 2,500. Okay, so this is the ALE. Here on this test out, they also talk about similar to the problem that I gave it to you. For example, if the asset loss is 1,000 for each incident and you expect that the incident occur every 4 years, so the annualized cost of the asset would be 250, which is 1,000 multiplied by 0.25. That's why you get 250. Here on the spreadsheet, the annualized loss expectancy is 2,500. How do you get this? It's because the overtime, okay, because of the attack. When the attack occur, the organization need to spend $10,000 for overtime of the staff and faculty, and for the staff and the call operator that need to wait in the call center while the system is down. And the arrow is 0.25 because the possibility of occur is every 4 years. So 10,000 multiplied by 0.25 is equal to 2,500 ALE. Okay, so that is how do you calculate risk in terms of quantitatively. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how to do qualitatively. Okay, so let me pause a little bit. Yeah, the next one that I'm going to discuss is about qualitative analysis. This is uses the scenarios to identify the risks and responses. Okay. Here I'm going to give you an example. Let's say that you are requested by your supervisor or your company president to do a risk assessment for a computer science or IT department at ABC College. Okay, at ABC College. Okay. So the first thing that you need to do is to help to find out. The first thing that you need to do is to identify, right? You need to identify the risk. What kind of risk? Okay, is there any risk that can cause harm to the organization or department? Okay. Also, you need to look for the impact. Is there any impact? What is the potential impact in case this happening? Okay. So first, you need to identify the risk. Second, include the potential impact of that risk. After you find it, after you write down the impact of the risk, the question now is, what kind of action do you know? What kind of action plan you do? How do you mitigate the risk? What kind of mitigation strategy that the organization need to take? And the last one is the probability, right? What's the probability of occurrence of the identified risk? Okay, whether it is high, medium, or low. Okay, here perhaps you can put the dollar amount, okay, if you want to, but in this case I don't. In this case, I will not put a dollar sign. However, if it is if your organization require a value amount, perhaps you can put a number account there. Okay. So remember, you need to identify the risk, you evaluate the impact of each risk, and define ways how to mitigate each of these items. Okay. If it's possible, you can calculate the total cost of each risk, right? And what is the probability? What is the probability of the risk is happening? All right, in this example, I will provide you with an case, okay? The risk assessment for a computer science department at ABC College. The first one. Okay, losing qualified or senior faculty with a PhD. Okay. Okay, I don't know if many of you are aware, in order to teach upper level course or in order to offer a bachelor program, 1/2 of that or 1/3 of that of those faculty need to have a PhD. Okay, so if we don't have PhD in the program, then the accreditation, we may lose the organization or a college can lose the accreditation. So that's the first risk, right? Losing qualified or senior faculty with PhD. Faculty may move to other colleges, or maybe he or she may retire. Okay. So what is the impact of the risk? Well, the impact of the risk, the program may not run, or we need to shut down the program, which is, I don't think the college president or senior management would like that, would like to hear those kind of impact. So how do you mitigate the risk? Well, if that happens, you need to have like a plan B. Okay, what kind of strategy that you need to mitigate it? Is hiring part-time faculty. Okay, we need to start employing part-time faculty that have a PhD. So that's how you mitigate the risk. What's the probability of that occurring? Let's say that the probability is high, okay? High to medium, okay? High or medium, okay? If it is high, that means you need to pay more attention. You need to do more proactive, right? Starting from now, perhaps the organization need to employ part-time faculty with a PhD, and perhaps you may need to pay more for part-time faculty with a PhD. This way we provide incentive for them to teach. Okay, that's how you do that, the first one. The second one is hurricane and natural disaster. Let's say the Del Mar College, right? Del Mar College in Corpus Christi. Since the college is located in the coastal area, so they may be prone to hurricane and natural disaster. So this is a risk. Okay, what is the impact of the risk? Well, students may not be able to learn because why? Because of the hurricane, they may shut down for a month, 2 months, or 3 months, right? So how you mitigate that? We may maybe the college need to have a redundant site. Okay, perhaps we may need to have a redundant site in another state, for example, in Arizona. Okay, so in case the area hits by the hurricane, the redundant site of the redundant site that located in Arizona can be up and running within 2 or 3 hours. Okay, so that's how you mitigate the risk. Or another way, or another mitigating strategy, maybe you can put maybe you can start doing a cloud computing, right? Cloud computing. Okay, perhaps organization need to put the blackboard offsite. So if there is something happen in the area of Corpus Christi, students are still be able to access to blackboard. Why? Because the BB is located offsite. We outsource them. For example, the organization outsourced them offsite. Maybe they are located in Chicago or Dallas. Okay, and what's the probability is medium. I don't know if many of you are aware. In some place, they may have a hurricane season from June to December. From June to December, so they have the company or the organization need to evaluate this on regular basis. Okay, budget cut, right? Well, since many colleges and universities depend the budget from the state, how about if there is a budget cut? What can we do with that? Okay, what's the impact on that? Well, the quality of the program will be deteriorating. Why? Because we may need to have a larger class, right? Budget class usually have an impact on the faculty or staff, or maybe on the administrator. They may have to lay off some of employee, faculty and staff, and they have if they are a faculty, they have to teach larger class. Okay, so that's the impact of that. How do you mitigate the strategy? Well, perhaps they need to increase the tuition, right? Increase the tuition per semester. What the probability and median? Okay. Let me give you another example. The internet down, right? What happens if the internet is down, right? Let's say that the college has about 100 to 200 class every day. Okay. Well, if the internet down, that's gonna have an impact on the productivity of the employee, also the class, right? Some computer class may be affected. Computer classes probably cannot hold it. Okay. Well, if the faculty lecture, they can fill out the lecture. Anyhow, when the internet is down, it's going to impact the productivity of the employees, and it's going to affect the classes, since many of the instructional material now based on the technology. Okay, it's a computerized system, not a manual system. So your PowerPoint, your slide, your quiz, your video, everything is on the internet. So basically the college maybe depend on the internet. So how you mitigate the strategy? Maybe you need to have a redundant ISP, right? Redundant ISP. Okay. Use Time Warner, or maybe you use another one, which is an AT&T. So they are not in the same company, because if they are in the same company, what happens if the Time Warner down? We cannot have a switch to AT&T different company. Okay, and the probability, maybe it's low. Okay, all right. So this way, I show you in this video, I show you about the risk assessment qualitatively. This one, okay. The first one is called qualitative analysis, and the bottom one that use a formula like single loss expectancy and annual what you call this, annual rate of occurrence and annualized loss expectancy. All of this formula used quantitatively. I hope that this video is informative, and I will communicate to you through Blackboard. Thank you.